Star Citizen, PTU 3.9. In the last video I actually told you that that would probably be my last video, because I wasn't exactly sure I wanted to try to tangle with the prison system, given that it can be hard to get out of prison, even considering the normal play loops that you can do within the prison in order to get your sentence reduced and in the end get out. On the other hand, of course, this is a test universe, so nothing I do here will affect what will happen in the live universe. Let's see if I can find a place where there's a little bit more light. This should be it. Oh yes, we're in a new ship, if you can see that. This is the Constellation Phoenix. So this is the luxury ship. And just go around and show you how it is considered luxury, if you are not familiar with this ship here, otherwise you'll know what I'm talking about. So let's get down to the planet. Let me just go to the snowy part here. So what occurred to me yesterday when I was trying to sort of edit some of the first videos that I made about the moons, it occurred to me that I was actually missing a crucial part of this update here. So I've shown you what will happen if you don't treat yourself well, if you will. If you don't adhere to the fact that you need to eat and you need to drink, so you will eventually die of thirst or die of hunger. And the other part was that 2 suits has been introduced into this patch here. The one is called Novikov, and the other, let me just see if I can find it. I can never remember names. There's the Novikov Armor, and then we have the Pembroke Armor, yes. They are respectively designed to keep you either warm in a very cold environment or keep you cool in a very warm environment. In this PTU I cannot test Area 18 because, like I said in one of the previous videos, if you land, you can certainly land at Area 18, but every time you try to spawn a ship to get away from Area 18, it will instantly be destroyed. And that is a known bug in the game. It's a known problem that they will hopefully eventually solve quickly. But nevertheless, I cannot test what you can buy at Area 18. But I know for certain that you can get the Pembroke Armor at Lowell in the Metro Center area, and of course you can get the Novikov Armor. Well, not of course, but you can get the Novikov Armor for now, at least. I'm not sure whether they will open stores. I haven't found any armor stores on Microtech itself, but the station above, you can find the Novikov Armor there. So you can also see to some degree that it seems that the Novikov Armor, which is intended for cold environments, is suited around Microtech, which is very cold all the way around. I haven't found any warm planets out here or moons. And also one of the moons of Hurston is supposed to be quite warm, if I'm not mistaken. So that would definitely explain why you can get the Pembroke Armor at Hurston. Alright, so let's slow down. So let me just show you exactly how efficient that armor is. You have already seen that if I use my my general suits, the general undersuits and armor, it will take something like 5 8 minutes before I begin to see some adverse effects of, in this case I've shown you here, it is hypothermia. But of course you will see the same adverse effects of hypothermia, which is one of the things that I will also be showing you today. And then we can also test whether hypothermia will increase your thirst, which is, I would expect it to do, but if it isn't programmed into the game, it isn't programmed into the game. Alright, so let's settle down here. Somewhere. I think I'm trying to go into the wind this time. And thereby also, whoa. There we go. Well, at least somewhat into the wind. Let's try to align with the ground.
Landing complete.
And set it down quite nicely. Alright. Turn on the engines. Let me just quickly show you the luxury yacht here. Or not exactly a yacht, but the luxury ship. This is the Constellation Phoenix. And besides the fact that it looks really nice, I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's cool if you want to impress someone. You see, you have solitary beds that you can't use, with a little fish tank with no fish in. You have very nice seats here with a good view, but you can't sit in them. I've tested those as well. You can interact with them in some sense, but it doesn't seem that it will allow me to sit in it in any way at all. But other than that, it's a pretty cool ship, given that you have this, it seems like a huge mobile home. There's the missiles. Heat seekers. Yeah. And you can use it, you have a lot of windows here, so you can also use it for showing things. Definitely, no doubt about that. You have a spectacular view of the planet, or this is the moon, but where you are in space or on a planet, you have a spectacular view of everything from it. There's no doubt about that. These chairs are the only chairs I've found that you can actually sit in. You have a spa or jacuzzi here that, just like all the other things, doesn't really work. And then you have a double bed. Almost seems like sort of a captain's suit or anything like that suite. But still, bed doesn't work. Can't even sit in them. And just like the other ships, you have that extra airplane out here that you cannot use for now because you cannot dock it. Alright, so let me just see. First of all, let's check my status, because then we can start there. So as you can see, my thirst is at 46% and my hunger is at 100%. Let's keep it there. I have should have some bottles in my personal inventory. Yeah, water and 2 pips energy. And then I have apple and an osa, whatever that is, and a pitambu. I'm not sure what any of that is. And that is because I have the rucksack on me, as you can see here. Initially, most people use it for mining because you can store a lot of things in it. It's a good mining tool. But with this new patch, you can also use it to store consumables in it. So obviously, as you can see, you unfortunately cannot store burgers, or even not the sandwiches can be stored in it. So this is the Phoenix class. There's also a bed here, you can see. So, and you can close the door if you want some little privacy, but well, just like before, you can't really do anything on this bed. And again, the fish tank is very nice, but completely void of fish. which I guess basically just makes it a tank. Alright, so let me just put on my helmet. Let's go down. Into the wind. Well, I did certainly place it against the wind. Alright, there's something I'm a little curious to see, and that is where this bay actually goes. Let me see if I can open the cargo bay. Alright, so as you probably can imagine, the idea behind what I'm going to do here is not to show you... Oh, I can close it here. Nice. It's not to show you the moon itself. We have already taken a good look, at least in my opinion, on the... So where does that elevator come from? Let me see. We're already taking a good look, in my opinion, on the moon here. Oh, so it is here. Right here in the middle of the floor. But how do you call it? Down. That's not the one. So I suppose you can... That's a bit weird. Oh, down. Alright, that was just a little test. Yes, we're already taking a good look at the, or at least in my opinion, taking a good look at the moons themselves. So this is not going to be sort of a test of the moon, but this is going to be more so a test of how this new suit differs from the suit I have on right now. Let me just make the test absolutely. Remove any variables that I can't. So let's remove the rucksack. So now we only have the undersuit. Well, we can for now see, let me see what the temp is, -61. We can for now see that in this current condition, I should be able to survive just about half an hour. Now obviously if I found a more cold environment, something that would go all the way down to -100 something degrees, it would have been a lot worse. I would have suffered the consequences much earlier than I do right now. That looks a bit steep. So I won't go down there because I probably won't be able to get up. So roughly 23-24 minutes depending on the environment. And those, look at this, how the wind is sort of skirting over the hill there. They've certainly increased the realism of how the weather looks, and you can see the storm coming directly into your face. Alright, so I won't be standing out here to see how fast it will take for my temperature to drop, because you can actually see that on one of the other videos, the first video that I made about the active status system. For now we are going to use the numbers, the survival estimate down there, as a true number. So right now it says 23 minutes. So let's see what happens if I change over to the Novikov suit, the Novikov Armor. As you can see now, I don't have a survival estimate at all, because there is, for some reason, air, breathable air on this planet, and the suit is going to keep me warm well, for now, while we don't have batteries or any kind of power sources on the suits, I will argue that this suit will keep me warm, nice and toasty, indefinitely. So I could sit here on this planet day and night if I wanted to. Well, not exactly, because then I would be locked out, but in theory I could sit here indefinitely and look at the weather, because the suit will keep me warm. Alright, so I was actually hoping to make a little bit of a longer test, but there's nothing to say about it. The suit keeps you warm, just like it's supposed to do, and you can work on this planet if you will and want to, just as long as you like. You just need to take some food and some water with you, and then you need to be aware that you, of course, have to remove the helmet in order to eat and drink. But besides that, it seems that this system works flawlessly. So this is one of the suits that you can use. The other suit, of course, is the one that is supposed to keep you from getting hypothermia, so getting too warm. And now this test is going to be a little bit longer, of course, because I haven't actually shown you what happens when you get hypothermia in this game. So this is one of the tests that we're going to do right now. I would say that if you discount the fact, actually, that the suits for now don't have any kind of power source, so they essentially have power indefinitely. If you discount that fact, I would say that Star Citizen has taken a little step closer towards what I would say is, to some extent, true realism, more realism. And like I said, there are many people that have complained on Spectrum about Star Citizen not supposed to be a survival game.
Engines are off.
And I would say that this game, as it is right now with this patch, still would lack a lot of features that, in my opinion, would define it as a survival game. For instance, you don't have any kind of crafting in this game. There's very, very little crafting, and the amount of crafting that you can do surmounts to the modifications that you can do on your weapons, which is not, in any case, crafting, because you just buy stuff and attach it to your weapons. That's the closest thing you get to this game regarding crafting. And if you take real survival games like Ark Survival Evolved or The Long Dark or similar, Subnautica, there is to some degree extensive crafting in these games, so you need to craft items in order to survive. You don't need to do this at all in Star Citizen. But like I said in one of the previous videos, as far as I know, Chris Roberts has said that this game is supposed to be some sort of spaceman simulator. So it's going to simulate your life as a spaceman in space, of course. And I would argue at any day that this, of course, entails that you need to eat, you need to drink. I would also argue that you need to go to the toilet and you need to wash yourself, to take a bath at one point or another. And of course you need to, since we are in space, which if you just look at our own solar system, the planets tend to have two kind of distinct features. Either they are extremely cold or they are extremely warm. If you take, for instance, a wife that sounds like an ambulance in distress. If you take, for instance, a planet like, let's say, well, let's take the extreme case. Let's take Pluto, which is not a planet, it's a microplanet, but nevertheless. Or we could take, let's say, Uranus, for instance. That planet, if we discount the fact that it's most likely have a a liquid surface, so you can't really land on it unless you have a very special boat. But nevertheless, if you take that planet, the surface on that planet is excruciatingly cold. I think it's almost at the point of the absolute zero. And you go to the other extreme. Well, if you take Mars, for instance, it's also pretty cold. But if you take the other extreme, if you go to a planet like Venus, the temperature is, I think it's something like 180 to 200 degrees Celsius. That's extremely warm. So space really is extremes. It's either very warm or extremely cold. And I'll just set the pause right now because I need to make sure that the moon I have in my mind is actually a very warm moon. Be right back. Alright, I'm back. As far as I could read, both Aberdeen and Ariel on Hurston should be pretty warm moons, so that's where we're going right now. We are now at Aberdeen, and I'm trying to put a waypoint down to one of the stations. It was Norgard, I think it would be pronounced. In Denmark we would probably just call it Nørgaard, but well, you know, different ways of saying different stuff. Now the problem with testing the adverse effects here on Aberdeen is that there's no atmosphere here. So if I wanted to test the adverse effects, which is what I want to do, I do need to put on some kind of suit. So that's a requirement. We do need to put on a suit. So that also means that the test will definitely take a little longer. So we can avoid pummeling into the ground.
Landing gear deployed.
We can find a good spot to land.
Collision alert.
Yes,
Low.
of course there's a collision alert. I'm trying to land. Nope, seems to be a little
Port.
This seems to be a little more plain.
Collision alert. Low. Collision alert. Port. Landing complete. Takeoff complete.
Whoa.
Landing complete. Engines are off.
That should be it. Alright.
Takeoff complete.
So now I need to put on suit. So now you can see the water level for me is down into the yellow. And I'm still 100% hunger, which makes me think, for some reason, that you can stack eating, because I ate a lot when I made when I prepared for this video here by getting around and getting these suits, these cold and heat suits and all that, and let me just put this on. So and it haven't gone down since. It was pretty stupid of me to put on the helmet, but nevertheless, just move it like this. Let me just show you. So you go into your personal inventory. In this case, we're going to take an energy drink because we'll... Oh. Did I take another rucksack? I did buy 2, so... Oh, I didn't put it on. Maybe that's the reason. There we go. Let's see now. We go into a personal inventory and I should have stuff. Yes. So let's just take one of these energy drinks. Now, in order to get it to work, sometimes it's a bit weird, but if you take to inspect and wait a little bit before you take it out, there you go, you can drink it. And as you can see, the level rises just a little bit. Now, one of the strange things here is, I can't show you that right now, but even if you have a bottle with a cap on, when you have opened the bottle for once, you can't store it anymore. And I find that to be a little bit strange. I get it with a can like this that you have opened, you can't just put it in your pocket because then the content would spill out into your pocket, but a bottle with a cap on, that shouldn't be a problem. Alright, so let's go down here. The temp should be, if I'm not mistaken, should be pretty high. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, wow. 230 degrees. So maybe the adverse effects, but the problem is that we are in the dark right now. We need to change that because otherwise we won't be able to see anything. Now that's a bit of a problem. Let's get that straightened out right away. I'll see you in the sun. Alright, now we are in the sun. As close as I can get, I think. Let's go into the warmth. The very warm environment of Aberdeen. And let's check the temperature once again. 230 degrees. That's pretty warm. And it also says that I only have 9 minutes left to live in. And that is not because I'm going to use the air. Let's also check the level. I'm at 53%. So let's see if that level will drop fast when I get into the hypothermia area. I think I'm going to take a little pause now because there's no interest for you in seeing me waiting to get into hypothermia. One thing that you can notice is that, check this out. I am standing completely still, not moving at all. Try to listen to my breath. Just by listening to the breath, you can really tell that this is a very unfriendly environment and it's not pleasant to be here. But I suppose that it goes without saying that standing in a suit that goes for maximum, I think it was 60 degrees Celsius. Yeah, 60 degrees. In an environment that is 230 degrees. That cannot be pleasant. Well, let's see what the adverse effects are in this game with hypothermia. Now you can see my temperature is increasing. 36.7. Not much, but a little bit. Now, I would very much have loved to remove the helmet to see how quickly I could get that temp up. But the problem is that there is no air in this moon, so I would suffocate before we would see the adverse effects of the temperature. 37 degrees. We are slowly nearing an area where you would say you have a fever. Just about 38 to 40 degrees Celsius. 37.5, I would argue that you yourself can feel a difference. Feel a bit warmer. Unpleasantly warm, I would say. I'm pretty sure, as I see it now, that we have enough oxygen to see the adverse effects of hypothermia before we'll begin to suffocate in the suit. But just look at that number decrease fast, the oxygen. Oh, now we're in the yellow. 37.5 degrees. I'm just going to walk around here nice and quietly, and you can enjoy the sounds and you can enjoy the visuals, because even though this is a hot moon and it looks barren and scorched, it is still a relatively beautiful place to go around. So let me try to make some conclusive arguments or some conclusions regarding this new patch and the actor status system in relation to what you normally, how most people probably will play this game. If you're a trader, I mean not a traitor, but a trader, you trade commodities, the impact that the actor status system will have on your gameplay will definitely be minimal. Even though if you land on a hot moon like this, Aberdeen is probably one of the hottest, if Ariel perhaps also. The time it takes you to go from the ship, depending on where you land of course, but if you land relatively close to the trading terminal, the time it will take you to get out of the ship and run over to the terminal, buy your stuff and get back to the ship is so fast that you won't even notice that you've gone into this extreme environment. Your suit will protect you very much. It will be very much capable of protecting you. Alright, so now we are at 39.1. We're in the red area, and we should begin to see some adverse effects. And if I'm not mistaken, you can hear it that my hearing is a little more slurry. Blurred, if you will. And I do also seem to be it's hard to see here, but it seems that there are some visual impairments. And look at my, whoa, look at how fast it drops my my thirst. So definitely that part of it is working very much. 1 minute left to live in, and you can definitely see the impairments, visual impairments. This is how it looks when you are getting hypothermic. I think I'm going to go into the ship and get a drink, and then we're going to take the suit out and see how it works. You can also hear my pulse. Now my chimp should slowly go down. Listen to him. That's not very pleasant. Take off the helmet. I think we're going to need to get something to drink very fast right now. Let's... Oh, we already have the... Oh, the bottle has disappeared. No. Alright, let's go into the personal inventory. Why can't I... Oh, there it was. Just took a little bit of time. Let's take a bottle of water. Drink. Because we need it. That was nice. Oh. Let's just finish it up. Now, one thing that I would like for them to implement into this game that, for instance, is in The Long Dark, is that when you take a sip of water like you do here, you will drink whatever is in the bottle until you are no longer thirsty. That is one thing I think they could have done probably relatively easily in this game and still give us the sensation of having to drink and eat in order to survive. All right. And I think just for the heck of... Oh yeah, he's just throwing things out. I think just for the heck of it, we're going to try to see if I can actually kill myself on this moon. But to see how it looks when we die of hypothermia. But nevertheless, let's go down and test the Pembroke Armor. As you can see, the Pembroke Armor protect us to within 225 degrees. So contrary to the other suit that we had where it was enough to keep us warm, this suit will actually lose the ability to keep us cold at a certain point. But we have 3 hours and 43 minutes before we'll begin to experience hypothermia in this suit here, or at least before we'll begin to experience definite adverse effects. So it's still a very different experience than just going out there in your normal everyday suit that you use. And like I said, the Novikov Armor, I have found that on... what's it called? Podtresla, that's right. And the Pembroke Armor here, I have found that at Hurston. That is Lowell, in the Metro Center area. I think it was not Tram and Myers. It's the only armor shop I have found at Lowell right now where you can get it. But as you can see, this is more than enough to keep you from getting hypothermia while you run around and conduct whatever you want to do. 3 hours. That is definitely more than the couple of minutes the other suit gave us. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a privilege to know you, but now I will for the sake of science, kill myself of thirst. Also so that we get the full experience. Of how hyperthermia is going to affect you. So I think I'm just going to find a nice place to sit down and enjoy the view. Let's run over here. Now the interesting thing is now we are at 50% hydration level. That was definitely more than before we went down. I think it was at 30. So the thing is, will we die of thirst first? Or will I die of the hypothermic adverse effects first? Alright, let's think this looks like a good spot. Yeah, it seems to be okay. That was. Alright. So I'll sit down here and enjoy the view. So nice sitting out here in 230 degrees Celsius. I'm pretty sure I know how a lobster would feel it if someone was trying to boil it alive. Although, of course, warm is a better conductor of heat than air. But before I will face my demise, I will again tell you that likes and subscribes, they always help. They do. And hope that you have enjoyed this, even though it has a tragic ending. And that I will see you in the next one, where I perhaps will go to prison and see if I can find my way out. After all, this is the public test universe. So it would seem prudent and obvious that I also test out this part. But the thing is that you are caught in prison when you get there. And if you don't have the means to get out because of bugs, then it doesn't seem to be a very interesting thing to test out. But nevertheless, let's just sit here together and enjoy the view while I slowly die. That's just it. Imagine being stuck on this world here without the suits. Can't imagine that would be very fun. And then we can also see how much, well, it seems that, and I think I will confer with my wife on this point. She's a doctor, medical doctor. It seems that the modeling in the game is that when you get hypothermic, your vision gets impaired, so you don't have the ability to distinguish in contrast, and also it seems that you begin to be very sensitive to bright light. Whereas when you get hypothermic, it seems that your vision impairment is, well, basically you begin to see strange colors and that sort of thing. But how realistic that is, I don't know, I can't tell. But I think it's cool that they have implemented it into the game so that you can actually see when you begin to get in these problems. So now we are at 38 degrees. There. This is where my wife would normally recognize the person having fever. This is like basically voluntarily entering an oven and then slowly getting cooked to death. And one other thing you can notice is that in the hypothermic condition, you begin to have problems breathing. You know, he began to this. In this case, in the hypothermic, your breathing just increases, even though the heart rate hasn't increased. You begin to breathe a lot. You can hear his. That's one other thing that they have changed. All right, closing on 39 degrees. I think we're about to enter the red area. Yes, now we enter the red area. 69% oxygen, so that's not a problem. So it is actually interesting for me to see where they have put that margin of higher temperature before you begin to, well, before you die. Let me just take away the chat so that doesn't annoy us. I think it's hard to see it here because the screen is completely yellow. But if you look in the right lower corner, you can see a little blob. And that is not something that is on the moon. Now we are nearing 40 degrees. 41 degrees is the point where it begins to be very dangerous regarding fever. So it's interesting to see how high he can actually go in temp before he dies, simply. Oh, look at that. Now you can really see the vision impairment. He's getting some sort of tunnel vision with these colorations, and the hydration level is declining very fast. 41 degrees there. See how high you can go. Don't think you can go much higher. You can hear, you're beginning to hear your own heartbeat very clearly. You can see the adverse effects in your vision. Those colorations almost look like sort of a psychedelic experience. 41.5, 41.6, 30 degrees 30%, 29 hydration level, declining very fast, getting to the point where I can't even read it out more. Oh, listen to that. And now he begins to just sit still. He doesn't even move. 42.2. 42.3. And now he begins to not being able to really see anymore. Oh, this is not nice. 10, 9. Hydration levels is dangerously low. Now he really is being unable to see. 42.8, nearing 43 degrees. And there we died. 43 degrees seems to be the highest temp that you can go. That's it. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.